Hello everyone, this is Pilpoh. Welcome back to All the Mods 10 to the Sky. So, between episodes, actually it was right at the end of last episode, well, I showed this thing off right here. This is all of the machines that I had in my base. So, if we pop over to, not the mob farm, AE down here, there we go. You can see all of my power stuff has disappeared. I'm actually going to use this area for like occultism and stuff now, I think. More magic-y, isn't it? I will be moving my applied energistics at some point as well. And probably all of my storage, because it is hella annoying having to like relink the flipping storage controller every single time I log in. So yeah, I should probably do something about that, but now we're all good. So yeah, all the machines that were down here, I've moved. So we pop back into the base. And I think I've done a really nice job. I think it looks nice. And I did this just right here. So the redstone one has a red cable. The carbon one has a black cable. And like blue for the enriched diamond. And then enriched obsidian, which is purple. I love that. I think that looks really neat right there. So we've got... This is the other way you do it, by the way. This makes all of the recipes like ridiculously easy. Stick an enriched iron in here. Or sorry, stick an iron ingot in here. You get an enriched iron. Because we're not even caring what is going on with, you know, this whole like extra stuff. We already know that it's got carbon in there. So we could just put all of our carbon recipes in this one. Same with the redstone. Now, I tend to do this when I've got enough resources. Which sometimes I don't do it the entire playthrough. I just leave it as my old setup. But this one right here is just super, super simple. And in this pack, once you set up your gears over here, everything is so much easier. You'll notice as well, I don't have my ancient debris gear anymore because it's useless, right? Ancient debris, we've already got 500k worth. So we don't need any more. So I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'll just not have that one anymore. And we've now got a coal one. Because obviously we need coal. It's really good. So there we go. What else did I do over here? So, got our Ori tech stuff set up. Oh yeah, that reminds me. How are all of these being powered? Just dire things, you think? No, not just dire things. Each one of these has got an induction card. Now, I really, really should go over this because it is a fantastic, fantastic small little mod for applied energistics itself. Now, I've got this thing here, a 256 ME FE storage cell. And what that does is, if we have a look in here, we've got an absolute ton of forge energy right there, or neo forge energy, whatever you want to call it, right? So we've got loads of this stuff, and that means that we can transport it to a bunch of places. This is from applied flux, like that. There you go. So there's a couple of recipes. First off, I think I did this recipe, which is a bit smaller than the 64, but now that I think about it, I might go back and make the reaction chamber recipe. Might be better, but yeah. Anyway, we've got this recipe right here for the redstone crystals, and then you use those to make like these energy storage components, and then you can use these ones later on. Actually, they need to be charged so you can make the printed energy circuit. Or if you use the block like I'm doing, obviously. We're making the printed energy circuit this way. 9 of them at a time. You can use these to make these things right here called flux accessors. Accessors? Yeah. So you can access your energy, your flux, from the network. Now, a lot of people get this a little bit confused, and if we have a look right here, this is not energy stored in the controller. So the controller itself has stored power, right? This, look how many channels I'm using. Nice. This one right here is power that you can access via the system. So the system doesn't have this to use in the system itself. Really difficult to explain that. But one way we could power this now is instead of having a flux point in there, we could have an accessor with a cable that just leads into this. But we're not going to do that. We're just going to leave it for now. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is let me get an accessor and I'll show you what it does. So if I place it like here. Nope, not there. There's so many places to place it, and I placed it on the one place that you couldn't use it. Anyway, if we use one of those accessors and we get something that needs power. So what's a machine that needs power? You know what? Cube. Nope, it's done. Nice. So this thing, if we place it right there, you can see it was getting power because we've got wireless charging, and it was, yeah. So what we're going to do is make that one an input. So all sides of this are input, right? This right here, it doesn't have like an interface or anything, so you can't see other than the fact that you can turn on fast mode if you want. But it does say right there, it may cause some lag, which is interesting. But if I put this here, look how quickly it just put all of the power into that. It's insane. So this thing is now fully charged. It's crazy, isn't it? Love it. Now, these things are really, really powerful, but did you know that you can convert these into induction cards? And the induction cards are really, really good because you can put them into pattern providers, and they act as if, so this thing right here is giving this power. It's mad. And this thing's giving this power, and all of these have got induction cards in them. So that was something I did between episodes, and I feel like I probably should have done it on camera and sort of talked to you guys about it, but I don't know. I needed to get it done. I wanted to get it out of the way just to make it all neat. I've already done a moving day episode, and I don't want to do another one, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I moved all of my bees. I unpacked them. This is basically the same setup that we had over at the other base. It's just a bit neater, I'd say. Yeah, we've got all of these. I don't have a squishing set. Oh, we do have a squishing setup. Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay, yeah, I'll have to figure some out with this at some point. This still has the magnet upgrade, right? Yeah, it does. Oh, sweet. So this might all still work if I put a bee in there. You know what? I've got some water bees. I could squish a water bee and see what happens. And in fact... Oh, yeah, you need to be down, don't you? Okay. Let me grab a lever. I tried to record this episode already. Okay, so I picked it up. I need to put that... There you go. And then... Did it get it? I think it did. I mean, what we could do is we could just have a look at the centrifuge. It has disappeared, so I think it's gone in here. Absolutely fine. There's a bit of water right there as well. Water bee. Nice. Love it. Okay. This has got bottles and everything. Oh, wow. Okay. That was literally just me moving it over here. And I think underneath this chest is where the factory manager is. Yeah. That's pretty funny. And then underneath that one is the breeding manager that I had. Yeah. Anyway, over here, I'm going to explain this a little bit now, I think. So, this one, I set this all up again. I will say I had a bit of an issue. If the modular router is right next to the pattern provider, so we've got a pattern provider right there. So if I... there you go. So, if the modular router is right next to this pattern provider, and it pulls from this, and it pushes back into the pattern provider, if it's on blocking mode, if it's on locking mode, like I think right now it's on blocking mode, meaning, yeah, it will happily just go off and make like a bunch of stuff. So, what is it? Blazing crystals? That's something, isn't it? Yeah, there you go. Let's make, what's a good number? 32? Half a stack? There you go. If this was right next to that, it would break after the first one. And I have no idea why, but all I did was move this away and it seemed to work. And that is really quick now. We love it. We'd like to see that. Now, you might see back there, that's where my assessor is. So this one is taking power into our system. So that's where all of this power is coming from. If we have a look in here now, it now says 1.4 instead of 2. Or near enough 2, right? 1.9. Because each one of these is like 450,000 FE per tick. So, and we've got 4 of them, so it's near enough what we wanted right there. Now, Did it really start raining? It's super loud over here. Yeah. We've got the thermo generators right here, and all of these are being, you know, flux plugged into the Drac network. You know, all of these are going in there. If we have a look underneath, it looks kind of cool because we've got the soul lava right there. Pretty neat right there. And then I've also moved all of my packed ice into, well, ice into blue ice into dry ice setup. Dry ice. And we still got 1,500. So, yeah, I think these are not very hungry on ice, even though they will be running at full power all the time because this thing is just like nom 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 on all of the all of the power right there. So, yeah. And we got a decent amount of power going in. Now, you might have already noticed it, and I've been trying to avoid talking about it, but I kind of made a fissile fuel setup over here. Now, there's a reason why I set this up not on camera, and that is because I recently did this, and I recently did it using Super Factory Manager, and I even used the code that I've got right here. Now, if I have a look, this is the code. So I didn't change this, other than the fact that I had to change some of the cardinal directions that we had, right? So, like, I had to, yeah, change it so south side is not south, it's like the other side. Anyway, I had to change it a little bit. But, yeah, this is running right now, and we're getting, well, we've already got a full thing of fissile fuel, and this thing is full up of fissile fuel as well. So we've got an entangler porter right here. Now, I will explain this fully right now if you want me to. I will leave a timestamp where it skips over it. I know a lot of people like have probably already gone over this like a million times. So, and I even went over it recently. So for those people that don't want to watch it, then just yeah, I'll give you a thing to skip. Okie dokie. Right, let's talk about my mindset when it comes to making this stuff. So let's get rid of all of my bookmarks because I use bookmarks a lot for this. So we do fissile. I've actually got a milkshake literally sitting right there waiting for me to drink it, and I'm not going to drink it until I've explained this to you guys. So here we go. Now we've got fissile fuel, which I will bookmark, and that is in an isotopic centrifuge, and you use uranium hexafluoride, which is the next thing that we will be bookmarking right there. So we need some uranium hexafluoride to get us our fissile fuel. By the way, fissile fuel is what you use in a nuclear reactor to get you a ton of steam from water. What else does it get you? It also gets you nuclear waste, and you need nuclear waste for antimatter. So, and we need antimatter for the ATM Star and the mech suit. So I am going for the mech suit, by the way. I don't know if I've mentioned that, but I feel like we need it if we're going to go against the Chaos Guardian. I know people probably could do it in, you know, iron armor with a bow and arrow that they dug out the garbage can. But for me, personally, I like to be over-prepared. So there it is. Anyway, right. So we need this uranium hexafluoride. To get that, you need to use one of these things, a chemical infuser. And that takes hydrofluoric acid and some uranium oxide. Okay, we'll go down the uranium oxide route first because it's smaller than the other route. So the uranium oxide route is, we have to look at this one right here. A chemical oxidizer on yellow cake uranium gives you some uranium oxide right there. Now, you want to know, I'll tell you what, I should have done, yeah, I'll come back to hydrofluoric, but I'll bookmark the uranium oxide right there. So that one is in a chemical oxidizer, and it is for yellow cake uranium. To get yellow cake uranium, you use an enrichment chamber. So I'm going to bookmark that one, and I'll put in some uranium right there, like that. So there's uranium. So that's one route right there, is to get the uranium oxide. It's quite a short route compared to the other side, because the other side is hydrofluoric acid. Now, the way you get hydrofluoric acid, which again we're going to bookmark, is you use sulfuric acid. So I'm going to bookmark that one, and some fluorite. Now, you could use fluorite blocks and everything, but I don't think it matters, does it? 100, 900. That's 9 times of the fluorite. And then that just gives you 9,000. So you don't get anything by doing the blocks. I just do the regular one, if I'm honest. There's probably some efficient way, or it's probably a little bit more efficient to use the blocks or something. I don't know. I prefer to use the small version. So that's how you get that one. But sulfuric acid. In fact, let's do it this way around like this, because that way sulfuric acid is the next thing we need to have a look at. Now, you can do it this way. You can use a chemical. So there's a few different ways to make the sulfuric acid right here. You get barely any if you were to put it in like, I think a few of these, like the osmium compressor, you know, or the infusing factory, you know, these things over here where they've got like this bit right here. So you could technically like put some in there and that will get you some sulfuric acid. Let's have a look at that one again, sulfuric acid. Or you could do the proper way to do it, which is using a chemical infuser. So to do that, you need a chemical infuser, you need sulfur trioxide, and you need some water vapor. I'm actually going to do the water vapor first, and I'm actually going to say water vapor is, well, when it comes back round to water, we're going to tag water and rotary condensator. So we're going to move the sulfur trioxide out. This is getting complicated, I know, but it does make sense in the end. Anyway, to get the sulfur trioxide, what you do is you need another chemical infuser, and you need some oxygen, and you need some sulfur dioxide. And to get sulfur dioxide, you need sulfur again, but this time you get a lot of sulfur dioxide in comparison to what it was previously for the sulfuric acid. And that is again in a chemical oxidizer, which I can't put in there again because we've already got it there. But yeah, so that's how you get, and that is just regular old sulfur. And that is how you get all of this stuff right here. Now, you'll notice that I've got this thing right here that says running out of sulfur, dump this. And all that means is you can get this thing here to export into here and then set it to dumping like that. I'm going to do dumping excess like that. There you go. Not that we need the hydrogen because we're making a ton of it already. But basically what this one does is when it doesn't have any hydrogen in this side, because it's like a side product, it will convert coal into some sulfur. So adding water and oxygen to coal gets you some sulfur. I can show you that actually if we go to, I think it's the pressurized reaction chamber. There it is. There you go. See? So you got that right there. Now we could use the gears. That one there. See that? Coal shard. And that is one of the gears that we've recently put in our farm over here. I'm slightly annoyed. I wish it would like mine up and smelt up into an actual piece of coal. But I kind of get why it doesn't, because it just acts like coal itself. So there it is. Anyway, if we have a look at this, very, very heavily, like there's so much to do right here. But handy dandy Super Factory Manager code. Oh, no, not that one. Sorry, that one. There you go. This is my Pilpoh's Fissile program. And this will be on the Discord. By the way, the Discord is free to join. I don't know if I've ever said that, but it is free to join for anyone. All of my world downloads are on there. All of my like Super Factory Manager code. I did a little world download for the Geors as well, by the way. So that thing over there. I've got a tiny little world download that you can spawn in. You can just have a look at it. I thought that was kind of funny. It's like less than 5 megabytes. It's tiny. Love it. Right. So, yeah, this code right here does everything for us. This obviously was before I decided to do the power thing instead, where I just say power and then you tag everything. Yeah, that was before any of those. And there you go. That's everything. That is making us some uranium. No, what's it called? Fissile fuel. I don't know what else to say, really. It's yeah, all of these things get tagged, and as I said, you can get access to this whenever you fancy on the Discord. And what you do is you just tag all of the different things that you got right here. I put 3 of the chemical oxidizer uraniums and then 7 of the chemical oxidizer sulfur. I ran out of sulfur in my recent series that I did this on, where I wrote this code. I ran out of sulfur, which is why I've got like a sulfur maker from coal. But yeah, if in this pack we seem to get like a ridiculous amount of sulfur. So because of that, we don't need to do that. Anyway, that there is making us a decent amount, I'd say, of fissile fuel. And this didn't run for very long either. And then I was like, oh, I should probably do this on camera. But then I'd already done it. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a new platform real quick. Oh, I did forget about the milkshake. So I'm going to have a bit of a sip right there. Oh, beautiful. Yeah. So anyway, it's kind of disappointing that I didn't do this on camera, I guess. I will say one thing, though. I did have a copy-paste of this. It was actually a little bit chunkier. I did slim this down a little bit, but I had a copy-paste of this. I copied and pasted it in. I want to show you something, actually. Copy. I've got a copy-paste gadget in my backpack somewhere. So, yeah, there you go. There's the copy-paste of this. I moved, obviously, these things so they're in a little bit and slimmed it down. But if I do this and I copy instead, and what I will do is get rid of that anchor, I am going to do something like, let's make a new chemical infuser. There you go. So here to here. Yeah, that'll do. Why not? So if I do paste like that, we can paste this chemical infuser down. I think I've got it set. So if we do settings menu, there you go. So we can paste this down if we fancy. I'm going to get a new chemical infuser. And before we do anything with this, I am going to put upgrade in there. So I've got a muffler upgrade. Let's put the muffler upgrade. Let's put 1 energy. And we'll put 1 of the speed upgrade in there. Now, my previous season of All the Mods 10, where I did the limited edition run, I wrote all of the code for this, and I made a copy-paste, and I was like, I can use this next time. Oh, it's going to be so good. So this thing right now has got a little bit of power, as you can see. And actually, if we place this down and we have a look at the side configs, you just got a bit of side config and everything. And let's say we do this and we paste and it places it down and we have a look in here and we go into the upgrades. All the upgrades have gone. All of the side configs are gone as well, including power. So, yeah, the copy paste for this, I got everything ready. I pasted it in and nothing here had any side configs. This is built with the default side configs in mind, by the way. So just placing them down. You don't have to touch the side configs whatsoever. That's what the code is for. You do need to be like looking east when you place it though. Well, I'll put this code on the Discord. I think it's already there, but still. What I might do is I might put up a version of this where it's like north, south, east, and west. I'll put like a different version of each because I do use every single one of the cardinal directions in this. And by that, by the way, I mean like south side is the best. And then down here we've got like north and we've got west and we've got east somewhere as well. Although I don't see east. I'm sure it's in here somewhere, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, so I pasted this in and none of them had any of the side configs and it was really annoying. So I boxed everything up into a cardboard box and I threw it out the window because I was like, nope. And we did it all by hand afterwards. So yeah, there you go. Right. That's a little bit of an explanation why we don't have that right now. I am going to build this thing over here. Now, I can show you how I use the builder. Now, if we have a look in here, I kind of just was like, I'm going to do a little bit of this. Let's turn that right there. And then I use the sort of, what do you call it right here? The preview. Preview is pretty cool. I will say mobs can spawn on this. RF tools, the people that make RF tools, you need to make it so these things are like non-spawnable blocks. Maybe like glass. Is glass a non-spawnable block? I think it is. Yeah. They need to act the same because you can make a massive like mob trap thing with this and loads of things will spawn in. It's funny. Anyway. So, what I've got right here is I've got a load of the pegged concrete and that is just going to... Are you going to completely fill this area? That's a bit interesting. Yeah, that's more than it said that you were going to do. Interesting. Is it because I accidentally... let's have a look on this. I did set you to solid. I didn't mean to do that. Nice. Anyway, right, let's pop these back in here. I want to see if that does it. Are you going to stop around the edge? Yeah, you are. That's what I wanted to see. We're going to need a lot more of this, and then I'll put the edge profile on. Right, there you go. We've got a couple new areas that we can go and do some building in. I actually really like the lights. I think they look pretty good. Do love the simple light mod. It just looks really nice. I'm actually going to do it down here, I think. Look kind of good. Right. We're not going to do a huge reactor because... Oh, flipping heck. I actually want to do a huge reactor now. What am I doing? Do we do a massive reactor? Oh, it's going to be off-center. I mean, we can make it within this chunk and still fit down here, can't we? Yeah, about that. I kind of already made the reactor a little bit. And we're going to be using that one next episode. But it took me ages to set up and explain and everything. Specifically because I was making the pellets and things. So what we're going to do today, to end today's episode, we're going to do all of that stuff next episode, I will say. What we're going to do today is we're going to set up some HDPE. And I've got a little area down here, which I'm going to specifically set up for HDPE. And we could do that bit together. So let's crack on with it, right? So first of all, we are going to need a crusher. This thing is going to crush up some... We could send it whatever we want, really. We could send it some moss blocks, which is probably what I'll do. And I'll quickly go and set my unlimited moss back up at the old base. To get moss, by the way, you can use the extractor. And this thing's pretty good. It is every 2 seconds now. I think they've nerfed that. I don't know how quick it is in a botany pot or anything, but maybe we have a look at another way of doing that. Yeah, we could do that one as well. But anyway, it doesn't matter. What we can do is feed this some, like, materials. And we'll get some biofuel. You can put the biofuel in. Where is it? It is, I think it's the pressurized reaction chamber is the next one that we need. Yeah, got that one right here. So that's going to go in here. Biofuel is going to go into this one. And if we go back to that pressurized reaction chamber, wherever it is. Give that some hydrogen. Give that some water. So these two right here. And you can get yourself, with some of the biofuel, you can get yourself some substrate and you can get ethane. Could have sworn this used to be called ethylene, I will admit, but maybe they've changed it slightly. But yeah, this will get you ethane. So substrate and ethane, they're actually really needed. Now, we do need a buffer for the ethane because you get more ethane than you do substrate. So you need the substrate as well later on in the craft. So to make use of the substrate to get yourself some HDPE, you do need some liquid ethane. So what we're going to put here, so if we have a look at the liquid ethane, you have to use a rotary condensator. Condensator. There you go. That's how you're supposed to say it. Condensator. Flipping heck. Like, you guys think that aluminium is a weird word. Try and say that one like 5 times as fast. So we're going to put that one next to this. I'm just angering the Americans again by saying that, aren't I? Whoopsie. Anyway, that's going to make us some of the flowing, or the liquid, I should say, ethane. Because this one right here is a gas right now. This one is a liquid. So that's going to go in the liquid slot of the pressurized reaction chamber. And the pressurized reaction chamber, if we have a look right there, also needs some oxygen. So using hydrogen over on this one and using oxygen on this one right here. And you need the substrate as well. So we are going to need to pipe the substrate out of this one over here into this new pressurized reaction chamber. And then that will get you some HDPE pellets. You can use them together like this, or you can put them into an enrichment chamber and get yourself some HDPE pellets. No, sheets. And you need the sheets for all the upgrades for the mech suit. You also need it for the SPS casing, and you also need it for like the modification station and the mech suit itself. So we are going to go for the mech suit. That's the whole point in this. So what I am going to do is I'm going to put this right, oopsie daisy, right there. And it is slightly off, but I think that's okay. So I am going to start setting these up, I think. Now, we need power, and this thing up here has got an induction card. So technically, I could use some cables, and we could do everything from the bottom of this. There you go. So all of these have now got some... That's a point. Yeah, all of these have now got some power. Yeah, I kind of need... Okay, I'll put that one there, and we'll say this one is for hydrogen. Set. And I'm going to tell it to output to the top. Eject on. So that should put hydrogen in there. We also need to get water in there. We could put water in the front, I guess. But we also need to pull out of this. So we do need a kind of access to the other side. We could also make it so that the hydrogen one also has water on it. I think. Because this one right here has only got chemicals in there. Whereas if we pop up here... This is where we're getting that, by the way. So this one, yeah, what we could do, funny enough, is where we've got the interface, which has got water in it, by the way. You got loads of power in you as well. Oh, dear. Oh, that's a reason. That is a reason right there why we shouldn't do that. Configurator. You need to specifically say if you're going to use the power thing on this. Oh, not that. Okay. You need to specifically say, let's change this to any other mode, like that, energy mode. Output the power from this, so it doesn't, like, try and put it back in, because this inputs and outputs power, right? So we're just going to say, output the power, please. Now, what we can do is, I can use a pipe. Just a regular mechanical pipe right there. Ultimate mechanical pipe. And I'm going to put the regular ultimate mechanical pipe right there. We can go back underneath. Probably makes no sense to anyone, I know, but that is going to pull water out of here, and the water is going to go into the quantum entangler portal right there. And what we can also do is say on fluid, I want you to auto eject water. So this has got water and hydrogen in there right now. We can do the same thing later on when it comes to the pressurized reaction chamber here. Wait. Sorry, I do apologize. This one needs the liquid ethane, doesn't it? So that's going to come from this side anyway. So this just needs oxygen. So we can do another entangler porter. Angler porter, thank you very much. And again, we can just say gases output to the top. Set it to oxygen. Oxygen's going to go in here. And then this should be all set up. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need 5 of all of the upgrades times 8. Right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's for the muffler. And then we'll put the speed upgrades in. And then we'll put the energy upgrades in as well. There you go. So these should be relatively quick now. All I need to do now is, in fact, we can boost it. Or we can get it started. Moss. Get a bit of moss. Stick that in there. We also need to set this to auto-eject out the side like that. So that's going to do that. That's going to make us the ethane in there. This is going to say... So you actually need to be told to output to the side. Like that. In fact, we'll just do that. And then we say output to the side. Ooh, input from that side. And auto-eject is on. So that's going to go in here. That's going to make some liquid ethane, which is going to go in here. Liquid ethane is going to come in into the pressurized reaction chamber. Now all we need to do is get the substrate to go over to this. So logistical transport pipes. Let's get a bunch of these. Substrate, you are going to go over. Now, we don't want it connecting right there. It doesn't really matter because it can't go anywhere with that one. But for neatness sake, we'll just do that one. And then all we need to do in this one is tell it to eject its items out the front. Yeah, and then these ones we can turn off. Auto eject. There you go. So all of the... oh, you're done already with all of that. Yeah, all of these are coming in here, the substrate. And there we go. We got some HDPE pellets. And the HDPE pellets are going to go out into the enrichment chamber. The enrichment chamber is going to make us some HDPE. And I'm actually going to set off a... I think we do it right here, can't we? There's a cable right there. There it is. Right, so we got the import bus right there. That's going to import into the system. There is a cable right there. I've got a cable facade. but it still will do it right there. So that's going to import into the system. And in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to set this one to detect it if it's inverted. We might want it on this one right here. Yeah. So what we can do with this one is I can have another cable right there. And I'm going to put right there a level emitter. And we're going to say HDPE sheets. How many do we do? 1024 probably? That's probably a good number, isn't it? So that one right there is going to emit a redstone signal, which is going to allow this thing to work, because we set this to only work with redstone signal is what the normal thing does right there. When we go over, I'll tell you what we could do is if I click on this one and I say, if you are emit when it is below 1, and now it's turned it off, and now this can't do anything. So basically what I'm trying to say is 1024. Oh, missed 24. This will give a redstone signal when we've got over 1024 of the HDPE, and it will just turn all of this off. Does that make sense? I think I could do a thing as well where I say this is dumping excess, which I don't like doing. But yeah, the last thing left to do is I need to, I'm going to put moss in here. I need to go set up moss specifically. So I'm going to say moss is right there. We are going to do a modular router because I love using modular routers, and it kind of fits. It fits all of this stuff right here. We're going to use modular routers. We're going to use a puller module, one of these bad boys, and we'll just use a regular old sender module. So we're going to pop this one in and say send to the side, and we're going to say pull from the thing right there, and we're just going to say whitelist on moss. You can grab moss and you can chuck it in like that. And then what I like to do, didn't mean to do that, whoops. What I like to do is if I open it up again, just make sure the moss is in there, because sometimes it loses it. So now that is going to pull moss from over there, and it's going to chuck it in here. That's going to make biofuel, and a job done. But now I need to automate moss. So let me go grab this. Oh, we could do it here, to be fair. I don't want to do it here. I don't think it fits. Let's go do it at the old base. All right, let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's have a go at this one. I need a stone. Regular old stone. Stick that one there. And then you put an extractor on top. And that is making us some moss. There we go. I already have moss over here, by the way. But I took all of the all of the upgrades out, and I'm putting them over here. And I'll probably just lock this one, and we'll make this the new moss one, if that makes sense. Stick it on like that. Right, this one we could probably unlink, and then we will unlock this. Just to make our... Didn't mean to do that. Make this a little easier. There we go. And then we can take it over here, chuck them in there instead. There you go, done. Sweet. So that's our new moss area. Now, obviously, we're not making as much moss as we used to. I'm sticking that back on, by the way. But, wow, we're not making that much moss. But I don't think we need that much to begin with. Let's just say that. Let's pop back over here, and we'll have a look. This is just happily chugging along, making us some HDPE. HDPE. There you go. We got 98, nearly 100. There we go. Awesome. Right. I'm going to call the episode here, I think. We did a lot in today's episode, but we also do quite a lot in the next episode where we may or may not release a little bit of radiation. I'm just putting it out there. Don't do that. Anyway, you'll see that next episode. Thank you for watching. Thanks for joining, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.